Hello everyone, this is Arrow, and welcome back to Sundown MHA Podfic. Today we'll be continuing Shouta Aizawa is Caught Horribly Underprepared by Hollowed Block 07. Chapter 4, Midoriya is Secretly a Genius. Summary. Aizawa makes sure Midoriya takes care of the burn on his arm, and gets named because he's just a cute little thing. Climbing stairs as a cat and with an injured leg must be the 100th level of hell, truly. It was not pleasant, and Midoriya took pity on him after 2 flights and carried him for the last flight despite his burnt arm. This kid has a heart of gold. Upon entering the kid's apartment, no one was home. The place was tidy, decently lived in, though not homey, as though someone had gone on a trip a couple weeks ago and had not returned. Though not necessarily concerning, he did file it away in a little drawer in his mental filing cabinet under Izuku Midoriya so he could keep an eye on it. Here we are. It's just me and my mom. My dad left when I was 4, likely when he was diagnosed. And my mom works long shifts at the local hospital, so she's not home very often, so it'll mostly be me and you, kitty. Midoriya set him down once more, letting his bag slip alongside him as he removed his shoes and put on his slippers. I think we've got some chicken or some tuna somewhere you can have, but I'll have to see what I can pull together to get you the necessities, unless you have somewhere else to go. The kid seemed to deflate at the idea of Aizawa leaving, so he shook his head, and the kid perked back up again. Aizawa, ever the stubborn bastard, looked around for the bathroom because surely the kid would have a first aid kit in the bathroom, and he found it fairly quickly, batting the door and meowing loudly in order to gain the kid's attention. The kid followed him, curious, and stood confused for a few seconds, before his gaze fell to his injured arm, weeping disgustingly and sickeningly red and silently nodded, coming to the conclusion that, yes, he did have to deal with it, and the cat was going to make sure he would. This would make a very funny show or a good book, Aizawa thought. The kid sat on the toilet after closing the lid and pulled his school uniform top off, leaving him in a thermal undershirt. Aizawa calibrated himself and jumped up to the sink, messing with the taps with his paws, quickly finding the cold water. He avoided the water expertly and used his teeth to gently took the boy's hand and moved it so his burn would be under the cool stream of water, meeting the boy's softly bemused expression with a determined glare from his own. Very clever you are. I need something to call you. The boy looked at him analytically, as if searching for something he was struggling to see, before sighing and pulling his phone out of his trousers awkwardly with his free hand. I'll scroll through Heropedia and you can tell me if you like any of them. I trust your opinion. Aizawa let the boy's hand go, and it remained where he had left it. Good. And watched the boy scroll along for what probably was an endless page of heroes, and God, there were so many. It bored Aizawa a little bit, but he kept his eye out for a very specific hero that had yet to come up. He batted the screen, picking on the page of one very loud hero. Present Mike? That's such a good pick. You want to be called Present Mike or Yamada Hisashi? Oh, he's so cool. His quirk allows him to adjust the frequency of volume with his voice, and it has so many practical applications. Obviously, he uses the volume manipulation aspect as his primary attack, increasing the volume in order to cause physical damage of buildings or people, but if he dabbed more into the frequency attacks, he could make his opponents nauseous or paralyze them like how Gang Orca does, even potentially from afar. If the two aspects work similarly in that they were both concentrated blasts, he could double his effectiveness in battle so easily and act as a sniper of some kind, or even convey messages across the field if he reduced the volume but projected it towards someone. Oh, and I have this theory that no one else would believe. The kid could talk like he was an Olympic sport, but it was filling time that the boy could keep his hand under the water, so Aizawa was more than happy to listen. Present Mike is married. Shit. I caught a glimpse of 2 wedding bands on his chain under his quirk projection speaker in one of his fights. I watch them all on video, usually after they've happened, so I can analyze them properly. And I saw it, and I just had to know who he married. though I wouldn't share it with anyone, so I was looking on videos of him over the past few years and found footage of him presenting the sports festival with an underground hero called Eraserhead. And they seemed to have some chemistry, so I looked further into it, and they went to high school together, and were even in the same class after the first year when Eraserhead transferred into the hero course from general studies. Andy looks head over heels during their second year fight with both Eraserhead and another student called Shirakumo, or who would have been called Loud Cloud. It's a miracle there are so many recordings of the sports festival 13 years ago, though I won't look a gift horse in the mouth, but I would love one day to ask President Mike if he's married or was married to Loud Cloud and Eraserhead. He tapped the kid as he said his hero name, trying to shed his shock and the irritational urge to cry, though cats couldn't cry, so he didn't know why he was fighting it so hard. This fucking kid. He's genius, not only piecing together our relationship, but Obero's involvement. He's stupidly observant. He's gonna be a good hero someday. Oh, do you need something? Or do you want to be called Eraserhead instead? I mean, he kind of looks like you, with the black fur and the gray looks like his scarf, capture weapon thing. Aizawa nodded, allowing himself to feel amazed at the problem-solving skills of this kid, and the sheer luck he had at finding video evidence of his existence to the point of knowing what his capture weapon was. He was clever, and would do very well in his path. Has it been long enough? Under the water, I mean? Aizawa looked at the burn and squinted, looking it over, and while 30 minutes was optimal, he didn't want the boy's water bill to rocket, and 5 minutes was applicable enough. He nodded, turning the tap off for the boy. He watched carefully as the boy gently patted the area clean, applied a burn cream of some kind, and wrapped it up in a gauze firmly, but not tightly. He began to lift his shirt up and revealed a large purple bruise darkening his side, and poked and prodded the areas, hissing at every other poke. Aizawa recoiled at the severity of it, though he could only pray the boy didn't break any bones. They really did a number on me today, huh? Usually it's just a few smaller bruises, but a severe burn and a severe bruise? I wonder what I did to annoy them, besides his existing, of course. And didn't that just make your heart sink? That this boy society hates so much thinks existing is a crime punishable by pain. Aizawa mewed, trying to convey his concern and worry at the injuries, at the mindset this boy had, but the boy only scratched the cat's head and pulled his shirt back down, walking off into the kitchen to prepare their mid-afternoon dinners. His mind wandered back to his husband, who, this intelligent child, had begun to analyze for him, and felt his heart twist. If I feel another thing anytime soon that isn't relief and no longer being a cat, I will riot. He hadn't spent a night away from his husband in almost a year, always sleeping side by side even in hospitals. He'd left early, so he didn't expect to be discovered missing until tonight, but how would his husband react? He's found somewhere safe, somewhere comfortable, somewhere warm, but his husband didn't know that. Would probably think that he'd been kidnapped or murdered and left to rot in an alleyway. He tried to recall if the coffee shop had security cameras outside that would have recorded the events, and came to the likely too hopeful conclusion that Nezu would have seen the transformation and would be looking for a black and gray cat. If not, he could always see if he could write as a cat and beg the boy to carry him to UA. It'd be a funny sight, and well worth teasing and shock of the boy if it could make him human faster. But right now, unable to do anything of any use, Aizawa couldn't worry about that. He had ideas and plans in his head. Maybe the quirk would last a day, a week, a fortnight. Maybe he needed to find the kid again. But worrying and planning excessively to the point of anxiety and exhaustion would only be a deterrent to him, especially while healing. For now, Aizawa would prepare the best he could and keep an eye on the problem child. Alright everyone, that is the end of Chapter 4 for Shouta Aizawa's Caught Horribly Underprepared. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you all soon.